Alistair Mann.
Charlton Athletic began extremely brightly and nearly took the lead within the first few minutes. Colin Walsh's excellent far post ball, Carl Leeburn's header, and great acrobatics on the line by Bolton skipper Phil Brown. Danger hadn't been cleared though. Leyburn almost on the end. Once again, Phil Brown with the heroics. But 8 minutes gone and the lead finally did come Charlton's way. Colin Walsh on the charge, great shot, may have took a little bit of a ricochet. Good goal nonetheless, 1-0. Charlton still on top and still looking for more goals. A near post header by Gary Nelson just flashed over the bar. In the second half, Bolton had their first real opportunity. Owen Coyle shot tipped round by Salmon. But then the killer goal, and the goal that effectively won the game for Charlton. Alan Stubbs tumbling to the ground, Nelson nipping through and casually walking the ball into the goal. An afternoon stroll for 2-0. The third goal, an absolute corker. Peter Garland getting on the end of Carl Leeburn's pass, but the rest was all Garland's. Brilliant goal. Leyburn celebrates along with his man. Bolton then began to play a bit. Mark Patterson almost getting himself a goal. Good save again by Salmon. And then a free kick, Alan Stubbs' header searing over the bar. In the end though, disappointment, 3-0 to Charlton.
Well, the biggest crowd in Division 1, unconfirmed, but almost certainly, was at the Victoria Ground. Stoke, promoted last season as champions against West Brom, who went up the hard way via the playoffs. Stoke's first league win of the season, Rob Palmer.
18,000 there, all but a few, and the vast Stoke following had more to shout about. Ex-Barnet boy Kenny Lowe with a long shot. Gradually Stoke's chances improved in quality. Mark Sting with his own version of twist and clout. Lang and Lilwall combined to keep him out. Stoke with their tall guys always dangerous from set pieces. Six-footers Nigel Gleghorn and David Regis had quick-fire efforts blocked as the Baggies pulled everyone back into the defensive trenches. It had taken West Brom half an hour to get their first real shot at goal, but Bob Taylor really didn't trouble Mark Prudhoe in the Stoke goal. The second half was quite boring until Stoke took the lead. Mickey Ginn the taker, David Regis the header, and as always Mark Steen the goal-getter, his fourth goal in 3 games. West Brom were now forced into all-out attack. Within a couple of minutes, almost an equaliser. Darren Bradley's blast. Andy Hunt couldn't steady himself. There were nervous moments in the Stoke defence as they somehow fumbled their way through. Hunt again with another West Brom chance. The Midlands club, proud boast of 8 unbeaten away matches, ended one final flourish. Darryl Burgess forcing Prudhoe into his only difficult save of the game, and Stoke get their first league win of the season.
Well, Tranmere were away to Grimsby today. No goals, actually. The closest they came, John Aldridge hit the bar, but Chris Malkin was sent off for violent conduct, quite out of character, and Ian Nolan was also sent off in the last minute, so 2 red cards for Tranmere today. On to the racecourse ground, where they've seen 17 goals in 3 games this season. Great entertainment, but that'll be little consolation for Brian Flynn, the Wrexham manager. Craig South.
If it's goals you want, then get down to the racecourse ground. 12 in 2 games before today, and as early as the first minute, Phil Hardy nearly added to the total. It wasn't long before Wrexham did though. Gary Bennett jumping highest in the Blackpool penalty area, allowing Steve Watkin to score from close range. It didn't take long for debutant Kevin Sheedy to make his mark in a Blackpool shirt though. A lovely free kick that put the Seasiders level. And 10 minutes later, with Wrexham failing to clear on the edge of the box, Mark Bonner fired home for Blackpool to make it 2-1. Just before the break, Wrexham nearly pulled level. Gary Briggs heading straight to Mark Taylor, but he could only lob onto the bar. Into the second half now, and Blackpool's continued pressure paid off for a 3rd time. But what a cracker it was from Chris Beach. No keeper in the world would have stopped that one. Not a bad way to score your first senior goal. Mark Walton on loan from Norwich in the Wrexham goal didn't even see it. But with 2 3-3 draws under their belts at home this season, Wrexham weren't going to lay down and die. Gary Bennett pulling one back with 20 minutes remaining. His 4th goal in 5 games this season. But chances continue to come at both ends. And certainly none of the fans from either side were going to leave early. But it was Wrexham who came closest near the end. Wayne Phillips' persistence paying off, and his shot going narrowly wide. But at full time, it was Blackpool who secured all 3 points.
Remarkable stuff. That was close to being the third 3-3 draw at the racecourse ground this season. Burnley having conceded 9 goals in 3 games. Burnley won't be happy with that. Now, Burnley went on a second-half rampage against Preston in the Coca-Cola Cup on Wednesday. They were in scoring mood again today against Leyton Orient. Orient on the receiving end. Same scoreline as well. Rob McCaffrey.
What a week it's been for Burnley. They really are on fire. The first chance for David Ayres running into space on the left, firing his shot across goal. Just tucked wide by Chris Turner. Wasn't long before Burnley went in front. The 25th minute, in fact. Real scramble in and around the Orient area. Couldn't clear the ball. Just watch for David Ayres sneaking up on the left-hand side. But watch John Deary just chop down the cover. That was 1-0. 5 minutes later, Orient replied. Route 1 football, this big kick from Turner, flick on, and Colin West with the most delicate of finishes. Marlon Beresford absolutely stranded. But the real difference for Burnley looks to be Kevin Russell, the kick-off performer of the week, at it again today. Lovely little skills in the box. When he was finally blocked, John Deary was following up, and no one was going to stop that one. Number 3 for Burnley was a good goal too. Nice touch from David Ayres here, setting up Ian Measham, running into acres of space. Watch for Russell arriving in the box, a bit more jiggery-pokery. And Andy Farrell was teed up this time. That was 3-1. Burnley scored 4 on Wednesday. They got 4 again today. It's a good time to be a Burnley fan, although Orient were well and truly shell-shocked by now. Adrian Heath took advantage. Keepers alive. Great stuff.
Well, Inchie's lost none of his touch, none of his magic. 2 other scores then in Division 2. Andy Priest scored Stockport's goal in their 1-1 draw at Huddersfield. Port Vale, the pre-season divisional favourites, going down 2-0 at Plymouth. Let's have a look at the top of the division then. Stockport in 4th place. Burnley, who really are looking good,